Good morning. I have a story to share with you today. Each morning when I arrive at school, I am greeted by a student who says, "Big dreams are happening today. Are you dreaming big, Miss Lee?" What a difference a year has made for this student. You know the one student who seems to always hide behind the scenes? That was him. Basically, he was a teen ninja without the pizza. He spent most of his time looking around and hiding. And he spent a lot of his time drawing superheroes. Superheroes that had the courage to leap big buildings and never forget their math homework. The student thought that his superpower was his ability to hide. But that changed all one day when he enrolled in a class where students with and without intellectual disabilities work side by side, shoulder to shoulder. That's when he met his learning partner, a gifted storyteller. Together they created a short story with bold heroes and beautiful drawings. But the real story here is not what happened that one moment, but what happened that whole year in the classroom with him and his learning partner. For the first time, he was seen, heard, and respected. Later that year, his mother, with tears in her eyes, told me, "My child used to walk the halls of this school and never be noticed. But now other students stop, they wave hello, they invite him to lunch. For once, he belongs." It's taken 10 years of his education career for that to happen. This story doesn't come with a one-time initiative, but from a simple and powerful shift in how we taught. We started to think, how can we add inclusion in every classroom? At my school, we created an academic class called Unified Literacy, where every student with and without intellectual disabilities that enrolled in this class grow and create together. They become readers, they become writers, they become artists, and they become friends. They belong to the class, to each other, and to our larger school community. So let me ask you a question. What if one simple shift in the way we teach could change not just a classroom, but a life, a school, and a community? That's the real story I'm here to tell you about today. The story of inclusion, not as an idea, but as a lived experience that brings out the best in all of us. At my school, we didn't start out to create something extraordinary. We just simply asked the following question: what if we stopped separating students and started bringing them together with a purpose? Unified Literacy began with one question, and that was the question. And what started as a small class quickly gained momentum in a very magical way. This class was built on 3 simple principles. All students can learn if we honor their strengths. Students with intellectual disabilities don't need to be included as an afterthought. They need and they deserve to be co-authors of their education. And lastly, when we bring students together across differences, everyone gains empathy, confidence, and a deeper sense of community. Research backs this up. Studies show that inclusive classrooms improve academic outcomes, not just for students with intellectual disabilities, but for all students. When teachers differentiate instruction and foster a culture of belonging, everyone benefits. Studies show that bullying decreases and attendance increases, and friendships blossom. Students carry those lessons into the real world. They become co-workers who understand the value of teamwork, neighbors who value difference, and community members who advocate for equity. So how does this work? Each student is partnered with a peer. They read books, they write poetry and short stories, lead discussions, and they create art together. We don't lower expectations. We expand access. We use differentiated instruction, multimodal tools, and collaborative strategies. But the heart of the class just isn't in the academics. It's also in the relationships. We've seen students who once struggled with communication become class leaders. We've seen academic high achievers grow in patience, flexibility, and emotional intelligence. We've watched students discover that they are more than their labels. They're more than their IEPs, their test scores, and their social reputations. And it's not just the students who change. Our school changes too. And this is what we discovered. Teachers began rethinking how to design lessons for everyone. Classrooms became more welcoming, hallways more inclusive. Clubs and events and school traditions began to make sure that everyone was included and invited to the party. And then the community noticed. Local businesses started offering job shadowing opportunities for students with disabilities. Families who once felt isolated saw their children's names in yearbooks, heard them speaking at state conferences, and witnessed them truly belonging. Other school districts began to take notice too, and they came into our classroom to observe so they could bring the programs to their schools. But what was really interesting, who led those discussions were not the teachers in the classroom, but the students. They had a story to tell, and they found their voice. Inclusive education isn't a challenge, it's a strength. So how do you begin? You start small. You look for a space, just one space where students can learn side by side. You listen to your students, you listen to your colleagues, and you listen to your parents. And you let go of the myth, well, we've always done it this way, and you make room for the new stories, the new partnerships, and the ways of learning. And most of all, you believe that it's possible. So here's my invitation to you. Whether you're an educator, business leader, or community member, you look for those spaces where inclusion can begin. Ask yourself, who is missing from this conversation? And what do I do to invite them in? Not just a seat at a table, but a voice, a purpose, and a partner. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. So start with one class, one partnership, and one door. Because usually that's all that it takes. A single invitation, a shared project, and a word of encouragement. So as you return to your schools, your businesses, and your communities, carry this with you. Inclusion is not extra work. It is essential work. And that is the future of education. And together we can make it real. So remember, big dreams are happening today. Are you dreaming big? Thank you.